right?
Which is, it's a choice for them. I think this is better for breaking into houses and cars, but
Yeah, this will pay for itself immediately, depending on what you.
yeah, whatever you break
Big time, guys. Archimedes said he can move the world with a long enough lever. Today, we're talking about simple machines. We're talking about levers and wedges. And these levers and wedges sometimes are put together, and they're disguised as what, big time, Rick?
Prybars.
Prybars.
Been around forever, just like Archimedes. But we'll start with the tried and true. I would call this the Joe Pesci Prybar, maybe.
The wrecking prybar, maybe.
Wrecking, the Home Alone Prybar, many different things. But I think this is what everybody probably thinks about when we say Prybar. Crowbar, Prybar. I'm sure that's what's on everybody's mind.
I mean, this is the ultimate residential demo tool. When I think those shows on the channel my wife watches, this is what these guys do demo with, right?
Which is, it's a choice for them. I think this is better for breaking into houses and cars, but
yeah, this will pay for itself immediately, depending on what you use it for.
Yeah, whatever you break into. So I don't think we need to spend much time talking about this. I think everybody's probably pretty familiar with this.
This is a good size, right?
Good size, good weight. You don't want them too big and heavy if you're really going to be.
You got to use it all day.
You got to break into things all day.
But great for home construction, wood, home materials, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and so is this one. This is kind of the same shape. I think everybody will notice. This is a flat bar, specifically good for home remodeling and getting up against some trim work and some walls.
It's got a nail puller on it, and I think people also refer to this as a wonder bar. You know why they call it a wonder bar?
I wonder.
Yeah, me too. So I think it's great. It's a little bit less of a wrecking situation and maybe more fine detail work, right?
Yeah, when you don't want to when you don't want to also destroy the thing that you're destroying next to it.
What I think is good is we got a variety of these kind of flat bar wonder bars. These small ones like this can get in really in tight places to get the molding and the trim work off. So this kind of like, if you want to save that trim from your home remodel, you might want to do kind of one of these smaller flat bars to be a little more gentle approach. Maybe not full makeover, home makeover edition.
Yeah, the good thing about small ones is you can only hit it with a hammer of
so big.
Of so big. Kind of limits you there, which is good for some people who maybe are a little hammer happy.
What about doing mechanical work, like on the cars, or we deal with a lot of machines sometimes? What kind of pry bar we got for that?
I think people are just going to envision this very generic pry bar. Smack and surface on the back, business end on the front. They come in all sorts of different sizes. Nothing really complex about these. These are tried and true. They've been around forever. I think that's why they stay around.
I like them in multiple sizes because I find myself, up under the car doing suspension work, and I can really kind of get in there. And you can put a lot of force. I mean, this is I don't know, what do you think, about a 16-inch lever on it here? So you're multiplying that force when you start doing your prying. So when you work on old trucks like we do, sometimes you need a lot of force, right?
Absolutely.
And so what about machinery kind of stuff when you get into some specialty stuff?
When you get into some specialty stuff, some of the things we like to reach for would be this. This is actually a couple tools in one. On one end, you've got a pointy bit. We would consider this part of maybe like a drift pin,
which is really a tapered wedge, right? Like it's a cylindrical taper, right? It's a wedge.
Everything here has an inclined plane, so everything here is a wedge of some
Big
sort.
Time simple machines.
Yeah. So getting two holes to line up.
Yeah.
And then maybe on this end with the lady's foot or crow's foot, depending on who you're talking to, will create some great angle to get in and pry some other things apart if maybe your access is all sorts of weird.
Yeah, I can't tell you how often trying to line the holes up is really important to try to get those bolts through. It's the best feeling in the world too when you get that bolt through those two.
Finally
holes.
goes through. That's why this is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
This is called a sleever bar, and it's kind of like this, except instead of a crow's foot on one end, it's only slightly bent. And so what that allows you to do is if you've got two materials right next to each other and you can only pry a little bit, it still lets you get in there and make your persuasion. This is really for steel erection and maybe setting some I-beams if you were going to build a building. in the iron worker world.
Yeah, I don't know much about steel erection.
Yeah.
I know about some other erection, but I can see how this would be useful. And I think this side, we do a lot of the hole setting, more hole alignment with,
Oh, yeah.
right?
I
Okay,
mean, that
yeah.
gives, that's every bit of 30 inches
This
there.
feels good in my hand.
It feels very good.
Feels very good.
It feels very good. It's the right size. It's the right weight.
Now,
But you can't hit it with a hammer, which is also probably pretty good for some guys.
so like machinery and ironworkers would use this kind of machinery movers, ironworkers, those kind of people.
Yeah.
But like if they really wanted to move something,
What would they use?
maybe something a little bit bigger.
Yeah, I'd say.
And so I don't know that this is, every person needs one of these, but we certainly use these outside and moving machinery. You see this one's got some dirt on it.
Yeah.
So if you're doing concrete work, you're doing big machine moving, this can really get under something and move it. But this is a hefty bar.
It's heavy. I mean, if you've got a big time problem, this is your big time bar.
Yeah, big time bar. And we think of this as kind of a rigger's bar. But you'll find these in all shapes and sizes. But the bigger the better, because again, now we're at a 4-foot lever,
You're
and
moving
I can
some
probably put down 200 pounds on a 4-foot lever. So simple
How
math
much?
with maybe a little bit more.
Okay,
maybe
okay.
I can put down 220 on a 4-foot lever. But
gotcha.
simple pounds, you get 800 pounds of force at the end of this thing without too much effort. So that's pretty cool. This is big time.
You got a big time problem. You might need a big time bar.
Yeah.
Well, let me
what if you
tell you
got a
about.
specialty problem?
Well, one of my favorites. It's got to be these.
Yeah.
These are indexing Prybars, and I am sad to say that there was a time in my life, it was a very dark time, where I did not know that these existed.
Like a small time.
It was a small time. I was a small time guy. I didn't know that these existed. I was using crowbars and flat bars, and finding creative ways to curse at my project until I found the indexing crowbar. So this Prybar indexes.
It's got a button on the head that you can just push in, and then all of a sudden you got multiple stops, right?
You got all these positions that you can go to, and what this is really good for is
being under the truck when you have no room and getting in the right spot.
yeah, when you're in a confined space under your big time truck, and either you need to pull or push, you can change it from pulling down if you have room to pull down, or maybe you only have room to push, and you don't want to slam your knuckles into the bottom of your truck, and you want to pull away, then you can pry away. Not to mention, kind of same like the sleever bar, you can line it up and then really get in some tight spots.
Yeah, these are great.
No, this one's mine.
Okay, got
That
it.
one's yours.
Yeah, a little baby one. I tell you what, if I had one mechanical pry bar to carry with me in like a basic toolkit, I think this would be it. I'd carry this and probably a Wonder Bar, and then you can kind of do the best of all worlds there.
Yeah.
So I think these are really great.
And then let's say you have a small time problem. Why don't you tell us about this little thing?
Yeah, so these have become extremely popular. These are these small pocket pry bars. I guess at some point in time, people decided that the screwdrivers on their Leathermans weren't the best prying tools. And so people wanted to keep a wedge in their pocket all the time.
A Leatherman comes with like 10 prying tools on it.
I know, but people have made a mint off charging $120 for something like this.
120.
Probably. I think they're cool. I tried carrying one. It just became an extra thing. I think it's a good thing to have. It lets you get in there and again, if you're out and you see something you want, maybe in like a vending machine, this might help you.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't carry one myself, but I do like them, and I think it's a good tool to have around.
Maybe in a bag.
Maybe in a bag. Maybe in a bag and out of pocket. The bigger problem with pry bars is nowadays they put all this trim on cars on the inside, and it's like clipped on with these like magic clips that somebody made. There's no bolts, screws, something easy to deal with. It's just all these spring-loaded clips.
And I think they're designed to break the minute you look at them.
Yeah, and so to get that trim out without kind of damaging it, what do we got here?
Well, they really come in a set, and that's what you want. Here's one, for instance, but you want plastic prying bars.
Upholstery clip remover.
I don't know what that means. I'm sure that means something to somebody. What I know that this does, though, is when you're removing the panels on the inside of your car, maybe your dash, maybe you want to get a radio out after you've gotten into the car and you want to take the radio out.
Yeah, without ruining the dash.
Yeah, you want to be a nice guy about
Yeah.
it. You would use one of these to carefully pull back the panels and not damage the already plastic panels that are in the plastic car with the plastic radio.
No, this is just if you had forgotten your keys.
Right. If
Yeah.
you had forgotten your keys, you could use one of these to pop all those clips in an efficient manner.
Yeah. So these are great for working on cars, getting in time. You got to have plastic. You can't use metal. You're gonna kill the resale value of your new vehicle.
And you're gonna break those little spring clips that nobody knows how to use.
Absolutely. So these are essentially levers with wedges attached to them.
Yep.
But I kind of like just wedges.
We like wedges.
Wedges are incredible. And so you get a lot of force. We could go through the math. There's other YouTube channels you can see to go through the simple machine math. But, essentially the idea is you beat wedge in, wedge spreads thing apart. And so this steel wedge is kind of your basic, again, mechanical separator, ironworker tool, really good at dealing with things that are made heavy, like car suspensions.
Yeah.
And safe doors, all kinds of things that
Maybe have a
small opening that really needs to be kind of wedged in.
But once you wedge something like this into the safe door, then you can take your index and pry bar and
where
really
you got
go to
another
work.
gap.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So if your device was in a place, if your thing was in a place that you were trying to get into, that maybe there were gas fumes all around.
Yeah.
And you didn't want to have a little spark in an accident. We've got these two kind of brass wedges here, and these brass wedges are great for striking because they're not going to throw sparks, and you're going to have an explosion. So that's like primary use number one. Number two is the brass is soft, right?
Yeah.
So if you're working on machine shafts, machine keyways, all kinds of things that are finished a level of detail, maybe more than the old grinder. The brass is a great thing to kind of put in and not ruin your piece. Very similar to the idea of the plastic trim pry bar, but
the brass is so soft that anybody who's used a brass hammer knows.
Yep.
You'll mushroom this before you damage whatever you're working on.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I think those are great. The other kind of material that's nice, that's not your traditional steel, is plastic, right?
Yeah.
And so we've got two plastic wedges here. This one's kind of a felling wedge for your arbor environments, your arborist. That tree that you tried to take down last year, if we hadn't used those felling wedges on it,
it might have landed on your truck.
It might have landed on my truck, which we would have had a big time problem.
You would have had a big time problem.
Yeah, so these are great for felling trees, getting them to kind of move over and you kind of getting out of the way. The plastic slides into places, it doesn't damage. This one's got a hole in it. Hole allows you to take it out. It also allows you to put a string on it in case you're in you're overhead somewhere.
So you don't drop it in.
So the wedge didn't become
a murder weapon.
A torpedo, a lawn dart, a wedge dart.
Yeah, this certainly would go through a hard hat.
And then what do we have here, Rick?
So this looks like a trowel, and that looks like maybe some sort of dagger, but this would be an offset wedge, and that would be a curved wedge. And so what this allows you to do, and what that allows you to do is, maybe the safe is up against a wall. You could get in between the safe and the wall and still swing a hammer because it's created some space for you. So it gives you some real good working space. Or a creative way to hit somebody.
I'm not a plumber, but I think the pipe fitters use these kind of things sometimes to separate big flanges.
Maybe.
Pipes, it's round, it kind of gets in there against the wall. So I think if you're a pipe fitter, if you're a big time pipe fitter, we want to hear from you. Which kind of wedges do you end up using? The next two are two of my favorite wedges because I don't have to be swinging anything.
Work smarter, not harder. We've all seen this before.
That's the old air wedge.
Just like a blood pressure cuff. Let's say before you even get to this, you've left your keys at home and you need to get into your car to go to work. This is designed to go in between a door maybe and spread it out a little bit so that you can get a coat hanger
Do a little
in there.
pumping.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to spread this vise. It's got a 300-pound limit right on it, but these are great tools. Oh, look, it says doors, windows,
Yeah,
appliances.
appliances, whatever.
The old air wedge, air shim, fantastic. But air will only take you so far.
And 300 pounds only takes you so far.
So our friend Archimedes, well, what did they like to use back in the day to really move something?
Wedges, inclined planes,
And water.
and water.
And water is hydraulic. And so squeezing some hydraulic fluid in this bad boy, this is a hydraulic spreading wedge. And you put 10,000 PSI hydraulic fluid in here.
It'll move whatever's in the way.
It'll move whatever's in the way. And, it's funny because so many of these things work with cars. Our friends, the fire department, have some of these kind of things. What do they refer to them as?
Jaws of life.
Yeah, they're going to, this is
Maybe just a
basically
little bit bigger.
a consumer version of the Jaws of life. And so when you're not in a place you can beat on something to spread it, this is a nice way to apply a lot of force with
Minimal effort.
minimal effort, and it's gentle for a little while.
Until it's not. It happens very quick.
Well,
Well, YouTube, let us know. What do you think? Did we cover some things that you didn't know about? Are there some things that maybe we didn't cover that you think we should know about? Just like I didn't want to live the rest of my life without knowing about an indexing pry bar, maybe there's something that we don't know about that's going to change our lives. So let us know in the comments, like and subscribe.
thank you very much.